Hello and welcome back to my channel. Jacob Payton here, and today I'm going to be doing a mini book haul. As you can see, I have a not super big stack of books. I did do a little thrifting this over the weekend and found some pretty cool things that I want to go ahead and show to you guys. I know I really haven't done a lot of book hauls here lately, and that is for good reason. I am actually reading things. I was already doing that to begin with, but it's very easy to buy a whole lot of books. It's harder to find the time to read a whole lot of books, especially like when there's new wonderful series coming out all the time. So I am catching up. I am decluttering shelves, and then there will probably be more hauls in the future. I'm also considering trying to do possible ebook hauls because I do a lot of reading on my phone, on my iPad, and my Kindle. And I would kind of love to show those off as well, because while I don't have them in paperback form, a lot of the covers are really cool. And, I don't really end up doing reviews of all the books that I read. I do the ones that I think are going to be of interest to the channel, but I do like to show off stuff that I got. And a lot of them do have cool covers. And even if I, don't do a review of them or don't finish them, I'd like to show them. I just don't really know if anyone has any interest in that kind of haul, because it really wouldn't be me holding up anything. It would probably be me pointing like this and then a book cover flashing on the screen. But that's neither here nor there. That is just something for me to think about. And also of note, and I will do a video of this at some point to talk about what I want to do with the channel, I have recently crossed the threshold of 100 subscribers, so that is really cool. But now, the haul. Ooh, which one do I want to do first? I'll do these two first. I have Inside UFO 5440 and The Mystery of Chimney Rock. These are two choose-your-own-adventure books that I found in the back of a used bookstore for 50 cents a piece. I'll be honest, I just kind of like the covers and they looked neat. I probably will read through them. I was never super big into choose-your-own-adventure books when I was a kid. I believe there were Goosebumps ones out and a couple others that were still being published. Obviously, there are a lot of older ones such as these. I do remember the actual choose-your-own-adventure books, like the brand, which these are, kind of floating around my school, and they were kind of a fun way to kill time. I never really checked them out of the library or anything like that, so it is going to kind of be neat to kind of rediscover these all over again. If you don't know what a choose-your-own-adventure book is, basically you read the book and it offers you choices, choose your own adventure, and then you flip to the page of the choice you made. And some of those may mean the end of the book for you, right? See right there, it says the end, and this one's also illustrated, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, so you could, the book might end with two moves. So it's almost like a maze where you try to actually make it to the best ending by doing the best choices. When I was in elementary school and we had these books that were in way worse condition, I mean, these are actually not in really bad condition for their age at all. The ones in my elementary school were pretty tattered. We would actually pass them around to see who would make it the farthest. And it was a fun way to kill time. And of course, this is back before we all had phones and stuff in our pockets and could just play games and entertain ourselves. Next up, I found, I think these are, nope. Found some Tarzan books, which I think I may have mentioned here at one point that I was not going to collect Tarzan books. And I was just going to find a way to read them and be edgy about it. I just keep getting them thrown in my face, and I do love Tarzan, and I love Edgar Rice Burroughs, so, just here we are. These were all $1, these were $1, and a couple others were $2 a piece. I love the classic Tarzan. I love these covers. I really like the black editions a lot better. There's other editions, too. That I also actually have on my shelf, but I think these are my favorite. I think the reason these are my favorite is they feel a little sturdier. because while I do collect a lot of older pulp paperbacks, I'm an active reader, right? I don't like things that are just going to sit on the shelf all the time. So it makes me nervous, especially some of the older ones with like the really beautiful illustrated covers, that they're going to fall apart the next time I try to open them. Whereas these don't really give me that feeling. And let's see, let me do this in some semblance of an order, because once again, if I do review these, which I might do if there's enough interest on the channel, because I do really like Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan books, even though there are a lot of things about it that really don't hold up well, to say the least. Some of his views, especially in with Tarzan dealing with other cultures in Africa, are not wonderful. But a lot of the other stuff that involves, you know, the magic and sword and sorcery elements, I do very much enjoy. But first up, we have Tarzan and the Leopard Men, which it says is book number 18, which I also like about these ones because they are actually numbered. And it says, Tarzan the Leopard Men. The steel-clawed leopard men were looking for victims for their savage rites. Their secret cult struck terror in the hearts of all the villagers. Only Orlando of the Utingi dared to declare war on them, and with Orlando went Tarzan of the Apes, but a strangely changed Tarzan, who now believed that he was Muzimo, the spirit or demon who had been Orlando's ancestor. There were traitors among Orlando's people, and in the village of the Leopard Men was Kalibuana, the white girl who had come to Africa to find a missing man, and only Tarzan could save her. Bum bum bum. So I am actually kind of excited to read this. I like a lot of stories that involve leopard men, mostly because they were a real thing and might even still be a real thing today. I don't know. But they were a real thing. That is a video or Google deep dive for you guys for another time. But there were animal cults in Africa that did actually involve human sacrifice and were like on record as being an issue up until like the 60s and 70s. So it's kind of interesting if you're like me and you like to deep dive into like true crime and the occult and paranormal stuff like that. And then next up I have Tarzan and the Castaways. And this is book 24, so I've already managed to do it out of order because this one's 23, and this is probably how I read them, because I tend to just grab these books off a shelf. And it says, stranded on an uncharted Pacific island, Tarzan was forced to take command of an ill-sorted party. English aristocrats, a Dutch officer, a woman of doubtful reputation, to ensure their safety from a band of mutineers led by a madman. A lost colony of Mayans, avid for potential victims for their barbarous human sacrifices, only added to the danger, but the Lord of the Jungle had unexpected allies. Castaway with his band was a shipment of African animals unknown to the island, striking terror in the hearts of Mayans and mutineers alike, but old friends and familiar antagonists to the man brought up among them, ... Tarzan of the Apes. And then Tarzan the Madman, which, honestly, out of all of them, this really isn't that interesting as a cover, as he's just kind of like wrestling a bull, which, of all the feats, I'm not saying it's not a feat by any means. I do think it's really cool. I just think like depicting Tarzan wrestling a bull, even though it is beautifully depicted, I mean, we've seen him fight lions and tigers and all sorts of stuff, so it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, he literally like throws punches with silverback gorillas. You know, bullfighting just seems a little beneath him. And it says Tarzan the Madman. Oh, Tarzan and the Madman. See, I was already reading it wrong. The drums boomed forth the incredible message from tribe to tribe. Tarzan, the Lord of the Jungle, had become an enemy to all, stealing and enslaving their women, even the daughter of an English millionaire who offered a princely reward for her capture and Tarzan's death. Certainly, her captor told Sandra Pickerel that he was Tarzan, and he also told her he was God. Tarzan followed their trail with one thought in mind, to pursue and destroy utterly the man who had stolen his name and made it infamous in the jungle world he loved. Bum bum bum. So yeah, it kind of sounds interesting, but I'm much more into like the Lost World elements of Tarzan. So, but I'll read them. I mean, I bought them, so I'll read them. And then next up, we've got another Edgar Rice Burroughs, and this is Land of Terror, book 6 of the, this is the one I can't pronounce. Pellucidar series, Pellucidar series. That's like a Hollow Earth series. And yeah, it even says it on the front. In the Hollow Earth, death and danger were the stuff of life, and survival went only to the strong and the cunning. Think Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carpenter, essentially, but instead of winding up on Mars, the main character, David Eanes, finds himself in the Hollow Earth, a place that basically never made it past caveman era. It is fun. I have not read as many books in that series as I would like to, but I am fixing that. And this was a clearance book, so I do believe I paid like 50 cents for this. So once again, this was a very inexpensive but also neat book haul. And it says, David Eanes and his savage empress, Diane, had challenged the weird terrors of, once again, I'm going to try to pronounce this, Pellucidar, to free their people, and they had won, but the Hollow Earth had held ever more snares for the unwary. While returning home from the land of Lohar, Eanes and his men clashed with the warrior women of Oog and lost. Even if they escaped, they would have to face the giant ants of Azar and the vicious slavers of the mysterious floating islands of Ruvans in the primitive world at the Earth's core. Freedom was no assurance of survival. So yeah, I mean, it just seems like it's going to be fun. I mean, there's people riding giant birds with spears. This just seems like fun pulp action to me, so that's kind of got me excited. And then next up is a Star Trek novel. I'll be honest, I don't really buy a lot of these. I tend to have a fair bit. When I say fair bit, I mean like 4 or 5, I think at this point, maybe 5 or 6. I usually get the ones that kind of have cool covers. I do read them. Most of the ones I'm interested in tend to be the older ones like this. The reason I don't go really out of my way to track down Star Trek novels is the same reason I don't for Star Wars novels. Unless I know a certain storyline or arc, there is just too many, and not all of them are great. But I did get this one for a reason, and it says The Romulan Way. They are a race of warriors, a noble people to whom honor is all. They are cousin to the Vulcan, ally to the Klingon, and Starfleet's most feared and cunning adversaries. They are the Romulans, and for 8 years, Federation agent Therese Bruto has hidden in their midst. Now the presence of a captured Starfleet officer forces her to make a fateful choice between exposure and escape, between maintaining her cover and saving the life of Dr. Leonard McCoy. Here in a startlingly, let me see if I can say that, different adventure is the truth behind one of the most fascinating alien races ever created in Star Trek, the Romulans. And that's why I got this book. I want to know more about the Romulans. I think this is going to be kind of cool to read. I like the cultural aspect of Star Trek and the fact that there are a plethora of different cultures and there are very different, and I like the lore. And it gives me something to geek out about. I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about the Romulans in the same way that I do like the Klingons, but I'm going to remedy that and hope that all of this, I guess, whatever I learned stays canon in the multitude of series that is playing out and rewriting some stuff. And even if it doesn't, I'm sure it'll give me enough backstory to go off to make it interesting. And next up is another Star Trek novel by J.M. Dillard, and this is Demons. I'll be honest, I got this mostly because of the name and because it says, long before the Federation, a powerful force invaded our galaxy and almost destroyed it. A force that began with possession and madness and ended in murder. A Starfleet research expedition to the farthest reaches of the galaxy has unearthed that force once again and brought its silent evil back to the planet Vulcan. Now Spock must defeat the demons that threaten his friends and family, or the Enterprise will become the instrument of the galaxy's destruction. I know that this probably won't end up being the science fiction-y Star Trek horror novel that I'm hoping it is, but I think this might be kind of the closest I'm going to get to something like that. And I think it would also kind of be fun to watch Spock try to mind meld with demonic creatures, even though it probably won't go to that extent. But either way, it seems fun. It's also not a very long read, so like I said, I just kind of got it because it looked fun. I don't plan on reading any of the Star Trek books, even the older ones, in any type of order. I just kind of pick them up every now and again if they look really interesting or if they're ones that I'm actually like seeking to collect. And next up is a book that I had been looking for a while, and the prices online tend to be kind of high, so I was kind of happy to find it for literally $1, and that is Conan the Mercenary by Andrew J. Offutt. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It does have a beautiful cover, minus the sticker at the top, which, by the way, if you're watching this channel and you know how to remove stickers without ripping covers, please let me know, and I will be your very best friend because I really want to figure that out. And it says, Conan is back. Robert E. Howard's Conan was never so lusty, never so deadly as in this new adventure chronicling the early years when the youthful sword wielder first rode out of the Cimmerian hills into the broad, savage world. Turning from smith's son to thief to Conan the Mercenary, imprisoned by sorcery. Bound by an impetuous pledge of loyalty, the greatest hero of them all battles for the greatest treasure of them all, his very soul. Only the dark-eyed, sultry ruler of Kurin, land of unhappy queens, can shatter the mirror, which holds his ensorcelled soul prisoner. But to do that, she must shatter also her only hope of happiness in the arms of her demon lover. Yeah, that was kind of a mouthful. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you will know that I've been reading a lot of sword and sorcery books this year, and part of that has been reading a lot of Conan books that are not written by Robert E. Howard, and just kind of having fun with them. I am still making my way through Conan the Triumphant by Robert E. Howard, but after that I will be reading this book, and also I think next is Conan and the Mountain Gods, but don't quote me on that. Long story short, I've been looking for this book for a while, and the prices online were just kind of too much for someone like me that's not really looking for a perfect quality collectible book. I just want a reader's edition. So yeah, this was awesome to find. The next thing I'm looking for is, copies of Kull from Atlantis, King Kull. But that is obviously neither here nor there. I probably shouldn't be talking about books that I'm also looking for because, once again, my TBR list at this point is just ever-growing and endless, and I am trying to make my way through it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and checking out some of these cool books I found. Like I said, especially now that the weather's nice, I will probably be doing more hauls soon. I have some books I'm taking to Second and Charles, and whenever I go there, I tend to end up buying more books, whether I want to or not. But that is definitely not the worst problem a person can have. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you've read any of these books or read any books like it, feel free to let me know in the comments below or recommend some new books to me. And as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll